Hi everybody, it's Mr. Shekowski. This is a video that has been put together to give you some visual instructions that are meant to go along with our Geo Bulletin number 9. I have put together Geo Bulletin number 9 in the hopes that everything that we're going to need to do and explore and learn about with respect to water is now included in this big bulletin. Okay, and what I'm going to do is attach this video here to this, make a link for this so that you can go back and take a look at some of the pieces that I'm talking about in detail and have written about in detail here, and just make sure you understand where to find these things. They're all accessible through our website, and there's a few links that I've added here in this document as well, just to make life a little bit easier. So this is basically a set of instructions to go with the written instructions that are here. And what we are going to be talking about for the next week or so is water, and this arguably is maybe the most important natural resource that there is, given its importance to life and to the variety of ways that humans in particular use it and need it. So without further ado, what I'm going to start with here is to go to our website, okay, and remind some people that generally speaking, where to find all these things. Actually, I'm going to start by just pretending I opened this up from scratch. So again, if you should now have our website, linked to your computer at home, and with one click you can open it, and there it is. And what you'll see when you scroll down a little ways is that what do we call this? Our documents library and Unit 2 natural resources. So when you click on that and you open it up, you will now be opening up a folder with a whole bunch of files in it, and many of them are going to now be used in the coming week to explore this new topic. So what I've taken to doing in the instructions is I've numbered the files. In addition to naming them, I'll say, okay, don't forget to do these questions in your textbook study notes or your TBSN, and then I'll say this is file number 2. Okay, and I'm using this line here, this column of numbers, to represent that particular file. And so many of them have been numbered. Whenever I mention them, I'll mention their name as well as file number 2 or 2.2 or whatever. So just a quick reminder for those that don't have their textbooks at home, I have created a PDF of the chapters that we are using to study Unit 2 on natural resources. And now that we're finished ecological footprint, you'll have to now open up this document to read aspects about water, which is what we're now going to work on for the next week or so. Okay. Now, and eventually we'll do a little bit on forestry and logging as well. So that's why all three of these are put together, and they're right below textbook study notes, which is item number 2. And because they're so closely related to item 2, they're 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. So that's kind of how the numbering system works. Okay. What you'll see here right after that is, a series of files that almost all of them have the word water in them or are related to water in some way. Intro water quiz, and then intro water quiz answers, and then intro thirst for water. And so these are PowerPoints. These two are PowerPoints. This is a document that will I'll encourage you to go look at once you've taken this little quiz. And for example, I mention in the instructions, when you open up this file, make sure you open it up in full projection mode, or I think that's what it's called. And what that means is that you don't see all the little individual files down the side. You're looking at this one slide at a time. And that way what you can do is sort of take the quiz in real time, right? So this is a statement. Is it true or false? And then the next time you click, the answer comes up. And then you get to number 2. Here's a new statement. Do you believe it or not? Is it true or false? And you kind of test yourself and see if anybody can get 10 out of 10 on this. It's going to be tricky. There are some deliberately tricky questions. So don't leave it in this mode. Click down here on this little slideshow. That's what it's called. Slideshow icon box. Actually, I'm not sure if you're seeing that now that oh yeah, there it is. It's still inside the confines of their screen here. So that's the button that I will click to turn it into slideshow mode, which lets you see one slide at a time and lets you unveil different aspects of the slide one piece at a time. Okay, so that's one little quick thing I wanted to make sure you understood from the instructions that I've typed there. And literally after that, for the most part, we're going down the list. Once in a while, we leapfrog ahead and I ask you to read an article and then go back and have a look at this PowerPoint and use this intro booklet to answer some questions. One of the other things I want to show you here is, there's in several cases, I think we're at the point now where nobody has any paper copies of these resources. We've run out of. I only handed out paper copies of things to do with ecological footprints. So now we are fully in the online mode here, and yet there is still some places and circumstances where it makes sense to record your notes into something, a file. And so some of you may have access to a printer, in which case you can print these files onto paper and work on them that way if you prefer. But for the majority of you, I'm imagining you're going to need to simply download these files and what's the word I'm looking for? And then you can use them and type your answers inside them. So for example, one of the files that you will have to work in and answer questions in is this water resources intro booklet. This is one of the earlier activities. And there's actually a little video that I want you to watch, and that when you've watched it, it'll help you do question 2. So this is a link to that video. You can see it as clearly as possible in this now. And again, there are places where you're asked to answer questions, and you can just fit your answers in wherever it makes the most sense. They're not always going to fit beautifully on a Word document. I get that. This is sort of why the paper copies are often easier to use, but you do the best you can, and as long as you're able to record your thoughts and ideas along the way, it doesn't really matter if you're breaking up the question a bit or spreading things out or pushing something down onto another page or something like that. But this water resources booklet is for an example of something you'll be asked to download. And so I just wanted to show you, when you hover over here across and you go to these 3 dots in a row, you can download this. When you click that, it basically is ready to download. And what you'll need to do then is save it. Well, first of all, you can open it, okay? And then once, oh, this is a different one. I've used a different link by accident. Anyway, this is a good example of another file that you've got access to. Yeah, that's the answers one. So that's something that you're welcome to look at once you finish the booklet and you want to double check you've done it right. So here we are. This is the file I meant to click. Where are we? Download. There it is. It appears down here in this case. And what you'll want to do then is open it and then save as. And when you save as, you'll be able to save it into your computer. And you should have a geography folder at this point, and maybe even a subfolder inside that called Unit 2 stuff. And that is the way for you to keep organized as we go through the rest of this course and the rest of this year. We'll be doing at least some elements from a Unit 3 and a Unit 4. And so just having one big gigantic geography folder is probably not good enough. You're going to want to subdivide that folder some more. Okay, and you can let me know if you're having trouble with that kind of basic file management. That's a computer skill that I expect you to have at this point in your school careers and at this point in being away from school so long and having to use computers. But if you do want me to help show you once again how to do that kind of thing, you just give me an email and we'll talk. Okay, so where are we going here? I have to kind of back up now. I've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole. So here's the Geo Bulletin once again, and then I'm back to our website. And once again, these are where all the files that you are going to be asked to work in are located. Okay. And so when the time comes, yes, there will be some PowerPoints. Here's one, for example, that I have created a video to go along with. So you'll click on this, watch the video, and then go back and work through the actual parts of the PowerPoint that you need to. And I plan to do that with one other PowerPoint as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do it for the hydrologic cycle. But so if you don't see a link here that says click here for a video, then you're just going to have to work through the video or through the PowerPoint one slide at a time and watch the and take note of the different aspects of it. I will do my best to put together a video for this, just because there's some visual aspects that probably bear explaining a little bit more. So I'll do my best to have that ready for you guys within the next day or so. So once again, all of these pieces are in our website, and all of the instructions are about to be sent to you as part of Geo Bulletin number 9. This is a Word document, so it's going to be attached to your Geo Bulletin email. And as I said, there will be this video then linked to this document, which will help sort of visually put into context all the things that are being talked about here. So I've given you a little preamble, a little bit of an intro about where we're headed next. You need to read through this, think a little bit about some things that I'm asking you to think about, and then what you start seeing is Activity 1, Activity 2, Activity 3, and each of these activities has detailed instructions. This is the order that I want you to work on these different activities. Some of the activities have more than one thing to do in them, but they're mostly related, okay? And as you go through this, it will tell you, go and look at this PowerPoint or watch this video or read this article, and all these pieces that it refers to are on our website, okay? So that is basically it. I expect that these 8 activities, and there's basically 8 activities, the 9th one is basically just wrapping up your reflections log and sending it to me. So there's really 8 different activities, and some of them are going to take you 5 minutes to do, and others are going to take you 40 minutes to do. So I'm not really sure, how you want to divide this up. I would recommend you work through them as much as you can in blocks of time, so that you're not just doing one little thing for 5 minutes and then leaving it and coming back the next day, because you'll kind of lose the momentum. But my hope is that you will be finished all 8 of these activities. And the thing that I'm taking in for marks is a reflections log, which you will be asked to make 4 entries on. And so whenever there's an entry, it's in capital letters. This is entry 4. That's the last one you're being asked to make. Entry number 1 comes pretty quickly. Well, first of all, activity 1 is simply to create a Word document called Water Reflections Log. So open a brand new blank piece of paper or document and make a title, and then get ready to do entry number 1. And eventually there'll be 4 entries in this. So this is somewhat what it should look like, ideally. And then you're going to save these as you do them little by little, 4 entries over the next several days, and you will submit this document for assessment as a way of showing me how well you've learned, how thoughtful you are about this topic. Okay, so, wrong document. No, that's the wrong document too. Okay, so the very next activity then is to look at a couple of PowerPoints and then answer a question in entry number 1 of your reflections log, or do something with entry number 1. And you can read the details here. This is meant to be written and read very, very carefully. Pardon me. The details are all here, and hopefully this video has gone some way into smoothing the wrinkles and showing you generally how it's meant to work. So with that said, I will sign off with this video and send this along to you. It's fairly late in the day at this point, so you can, I guess one more thing I'll mention is that you can look here in our class calendar, and what I have identified here is that you are going to get Bulletin 9 on Thursday. Well, it's late in Thursday, but it's coming. And I'm giving you until next Thursday to finish this topic. So you can decide how you want to adjust your schedule. I have a PD day tomorrow, so I will, for the most part, be learning about some different ways of using the computer to teach. And so, do send me emails if you have questions as you're getting started on this. I do want to make sure people have a good start on this, and hopefully you're well into it by the time we get to Monday. And Monday you have been sent an invite to join a live class in Teams, much like we did last week Monday, I should say. And at this point, I'm going to want to take questions from you about how you're doing with your water activities. And you'll still have several days after this class to complete them. So that's sort of the process and the procedure and the timelines that we're looking at here. I want to thank everybody who have handed in their Eco Footprint projects. More than 2/3 of all my students have handed them in as of the making of this video. I will definitely be on the phone to those who have yet to hand it in to find out what is going on. And so we'll leave those conversations for the coming days. But I'm certainly willing to accept anybody who's worried about handing it in a day or two late. I'd much rather have it in now than have to take time chasing you by phone. So do send it in if you have yet to. I hope this message finds everybody well, and we'll be talking more in the coming days, I'm sure. Please send me an email if there's something unclear about what I've said or what I've written in that bulletin. It is meant to be the instructions that you need for basically the rest of the week. Okay? Take care, everybody.